In terms of generic intros, I feel like I should start with, hello everyone. I'm Camden Hess, the host of Misaligned Mayhem, and I have been joined today with Jalen, my good friend Jalen, also J Stone Gaming. You can find whatever remnants of his content is left on whatever social media he deems worthy to share with you, but other than that, it has been a long, long while since I've last done a podcast episode, and I have my reasons. I will not share my reasons, so I'll leave it at that. So I'll jump right into it in terms of what we're talking about. I mean, first of all, Jalen, why don't you say hi?
What's good, everybody? Jalen, like you said, J Stone Gaming. Yeah, you can find most of my stuff, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, of course.
Spam his messages on PlayStation Network or on spam that.
Meet me on Discord.
Spam that like button on.
Spam that like button.
Spam that like button on his TikTok or whatever.
Speed boost dash over that like button. Spin that. There we go.
Yep. I'm a little rusty at this, so we're just gonna go and. I'm so rusty. It's like. As I said, the last time I did a stream or last time I did an episode was in May. So this is like May, June, July, August. This is like 4 months. It's been like 4 months since I've last done this. So it's like can't be rusty if I was never good at it though.
I'm about to say I'm not even good at it, so I'm not rusty. I can't be rusty in the car parts I ain't even done yet.
See, as far as I know, it's like once you realize that you're in, like, if you're being recorded. See, that's the thing. If you're ever playing, I know our friend Gerald has this issue where if we don't know we're being recorded, we end up being authentic with it. But when we do know we're recording, we end up trying too hard, and then it just ends up being, the quality ends up being worse than what it should be. So that's the thing.
That's why I would just clip random stuff that happened on whenever we were playing something. I would just randomly clip stuff.
Like, it was always easier to do clips on PlayStation because it was simple, authentic. It just happened like that, and then you just clip it, and then you can trim it up to how you want it. The quality isn't as good in terms of standards, but you still have a good, authentic, pretty funny clip of what.
Right.
So, and that's the difference with a talking like podcast is you're being recorded or you're streaming it, but once you get into the discussion, then you're off. You're talking about it. You're talking about whatever it is you're talking about. Which, by the way, that topic today, since now we're doing topics and we're just gonna do whatever. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Speed right into it.
Let's speed right into it. Gotta go fast.
Speed right into it. Gotta go.
Gotta go fast. Right into the topic. Yes. I mean, this year is a very special year for our blue blur friend. He's turned 30 now. He's an old geezer now. He's older than I am, which kind of tells you the kind of fan that I am. But we'll get into that later. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog has turned 30 this year, and within the recent months, a lot has been announced, but before we get into what's coming out in the future, I want to first address both me and Jalen's history with Sonic. We'll start with Jalen. What was your earliest memory with Sonic?
Man, earliest memory? I don't even know if this is like actually a memory or if it was like a fever dream, but so I think McDonald's or somewhere used to have these like little GameCubes, like in the store, and you'd like get to like demo certain games, and they had Sonic Heroes, available to play. So I played that, loved it. Immediately asked my mom to get it. My first system was the PS2, so I had the PS2 and I got it on the PS2. Been playing Sonic ever since.
Yeah, back when McDonald's used to be good, they actually let you play freaking GameCube games. You had some random games though, but Sonic Heroes, I remember there was one stop that had Sonic Heroes. That was the only time I was able to play Sonic Heroes, because I've never beaten the game. That's my It's like, you can't be a Sonic fan. You can't be a Sonic fan if you haven't beaten all of the mainstream games. Like Sonic Heroes is one of the best ones. I was like, well,
We're gonna gatekeep you for not
like
being Sonic Heroes.
it's like, how can you be a Sonic fan? You've never played Sonic Heroes. And it's like, I mean, I've played it. I haven't beaten it yet. That would be an interesting gatekeep. Would be like if there's a single Sonic game you haven't played and it's Sonic Heroes, one of the I want to call it the Generations lineup, where it's the main 9 games, and Sonic Heroes just so happens to be one of those. Out of those 9, Sonic Heroes is the one I have not played.
Oh wow,
Which is unfortunate. I have a PS2. I just need the game to play it. So
I don't think I've missed any. Now that I think about it,
it's like someone out there just give me the game, or even just offer me to pay for the game. Just look up. I hope it's somewhere. It's got to be somewhere. Someone's definitely going to be like, I like the game. I'm just not willing to keep it. I'll just sell it.
someone has like plot twist. There's someone out there that has like the first very copy of it.
Well, that's got to go.
The first copy of it, and it's like now it's like $1 million.
Oh, $1 million for a copy of Sonic Heroes. That game of all games and like I feel like it shouldn't be that high though. Like if it was like the first ever copy of Sonic the Hedgehog 1991, that would make sense. Like the whole, what was it, $3 million for Mario 64? Like
I think so.
A mint condition Super Mario 64 like thing game like the game. I think it was a console box that came with the game. And that was like $3 million. I think it was more than that. It could have been more than that. And it's I don't know.
That's a lot.
I don't know. But yeah, as I said, you say your earliest memory was Sonic Heroes, and it's just like, wow, it's funny how my earliest memory was with, I think it was the Sonic Mega Collection Plus on PlayStation 2. And all the classic games, all the Mega Drive games, all the Master System games, all that stuff. All the Sonic games that were like, I want to say from 1991 to 1996. And then there was like a teaser trailer for Sonic Heroes in that game, which was interesting. It was showing Team Dark's like first cutscene as that thing. So that's the earliest one I have, but then it's so weird how it evolved into something else. Like I knew of the character, I just didn't know the character. I think it manifested when I played Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
That's what made you want to become a Sonic fan?
That I know, it's such a weird thing. It's just I think it was because the character design of Sonic looks cool. Like it looks dope. Right. Like if you're comparing all the Sonic characters to all the Mario characters, which ones look more interesting to look at in terms of its appeal to someone like myself who's like 8 years old, first playing, like we have a Wii now. We have these Wii games now. It's like, oh, cool. I know who Mario is. We had a couple games on the Wii. We had New Super Mario Brothers Wii on there. So now we have Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and I was only familiar with Sonic. And now I'm like, oh, he's cool. He's actually what got me into drawing. I looked at him. I started drawing, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this looks kind of cool. And they're like, oh, that's a pretty good drawing. And that manifested into, oh, you're pretty good at drawing this character. Maybe you're good at drawing other things. And I'm like, oh. Okay. So if you think about it, I'm like, I'm not where I am right now. I wouldn't be where I am right now in terms of designing things if it weren't for Sonic, which was, I think, that's where it really started, was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Like, not even a mainstream Sonic game. It was that game that I played, which led me to play other games, and that's where it truly kickstarted how that went.
That's kind of interesting.
It's an interesting.
I never would have thought you said. I never knew that actually. This is not a joke.
It's not like it's not like I'm like, oh yeah, my first Sonic game was Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. It's different than that. My first game was the Mega Collection. It's like I don't think I've had a I don't think my first game of Sonic was a main series Sonic game. I mean, I played Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles on the Mega Collection, but that was really it. And I was shitty at those games. I could not get past the Marble Zone on Sonic 1.
Yep.
I couldn't get past Chemical Plant. No. I got past Chemical Plant. I couldn't get past the Aquatic Ruins. And
I couldn't beat the boss in that one.
I could not get past Flying Battery Zone in Sonic and Knuckles. It's like, how have you grown as a Sonic fan? That's my next question. It's like, in terms of the games you used to play and now you play them now and you're like, oh, gonna go brush right through those. Just
like in terms of like how I evolved as like getting better at Sonic games.
Yeah, because I remember the first time I played Unleashed, I hated the game because I sucked at
Really?
it. I sucked at it. I sucked at the game. I couldn't get past the stupid tornado level. That's
one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites. I love it. It's just I couldn't get past. Like, I'm 10, and like my gaming skills haven't developed yet because I don't know. It's just I don't know. But
well, maybe where you got the art development, I got the gaming development because I can't draw, but I was pretty.
I was always good at Sonic games.
Maybe there's a. I'm not gonna lie and say I was always good at them. But like Unleashed has always been my favorite. The boost formula, like that was something definitely new, interesting for me. Mm-hmm. Even the warehouse stuff was pretty cool. A lot of people bash on that for a lot of reasons, but I actually like it. Now I will admit that when I go back and replay Sonic Unleashed, I don't really play the night stages as much. But yeah, I would say like in terms of getting better, it was kind of like how the game expected you to get better. Like, you know, I mean, especially in the classic games specifically, you're going screen right, you know?
Yeah.
You start building up speed, you realize how the mechanics work, and then you realize that there are different trips and stuff and traps and stuff that you're not supposed to know are there. And, like, of course, you, like, get frustrated and stuff, and then you're like, all right, you got to learn. So then you start learning the maps, you start learning enemy placements. You know, you learn where you can like afford to get hit, where you can't. And then you learn like, you know, how not to get hit at all almost. And you just keep playing it because I mean, like, there's just something like a lot of Sonic games have so much replayability in my eyes, even the ones that aren't as like. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like I think Sonic games are made in a way where you play it for the first time and either you're adjusted to its gameplay like well enough so that you keep playing the game until you are like really good at it. Like I think the first in terms of story, I think I did finish Unleashed eventually. I did go back and finish Unleashed because I wanted to.
Okay.
Like, and then I was that kid who was just like, was enticed by anything Sonic. So I saw Sonic 06 for like on the shelf in stores at a GameStop. And I was like begging my mom to get me this game. And this game has been out for a good like 4 years already. So I've heard nothing about this game. And I'm simply looking at it and I'm like, I must have it. Like I haven't been...
Every time I saw a Sonic game, I had to get it if it was something I hadn't seen before.
Yeah, it was like Sonic Rush. I saw that. I saw Sonic Rush Avenger, and I'm like, I want these games because we'll visit Best Buy every once in a while because my parents wanted to buy movies back when we wanted to buy physical copies of movies. I'd go down to the game section. I'd see like a bunch of games, and I'd see a Sonic game, and I'm like, I want it. I want that game. I want the game there. But like, yeah. But I think it's interesting how it's like you'll progressively... There are games that take a long time for you to get genuinely good at. Like, I think Sonic Unleashed, like, you'll know the map, but you'll still struggle in certain areas because it's like, oh, man, it's this level. It's Eggman Land. I'll never be able to do this in one try. The stupid hot dog missions make me do it in one try.
Yeah, we talked about that one day. I remember we were sitting in a fall or party or something.
Mm-hmm.
This man could not get past that level,
That
that hot dog level, and he was like, "Bro, try this." And I did in like 2 tries. And he was like, "What the fuck?" It's like I just did it. I don't know what's wrong.
yeah, cause what's his face? It was. I personally am a completionist to certain games that are like easy to complete in term like Lego games. They're easy to do 100%. I did like Batman Arkham. I think I did. No, it was Batman Arkham Knight. I did 100%. Um, I have not 100%ed Sonic Unleashed, but that is a task all on its own.
You're right.
Like like Forces was easy to 100%. Like
Red
the
rings and stuff.
get all the rings, get all those moon medals, and get all those number thing. They did it, that was their only reason for replayability was to add cosmetic. What you know what? I'll do a whole Forces argument later on, but like to get to my main point. What was I talking about?
Uh,
I got heated up in Forces because I'm
Unleashed.
like, because what the hell was I talking? I was talking about
You were
Unleashed.
talking about being a completionist in the Unleashed.
Yeah, but I'm also talking about how other games are like, if you're a completionist like me, like Mania. Mania was pretty pretty challenging to complete because you needed all the Sonic 3 and Knuckles level like Chaos Emerald levels, which you would get either a gold coin or a silver coin at the end of them, and that took a while to do. And plus, there's either the levels you're familiar with and you know exactly when to turn right and left and when to jump, but then there's completely new levels that they added in, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got a whole new layout to work with. But another game that's decently difficult to complete, I'd say even Lost World was difficult. I mean,
Yeah,
they,
they
they went to the standard of doing the Red Wing. I keep saying Red Wings. Go Red Wings. But the Red Rings.
right.
There goes my speech impediment. But but
Okay.
that became like a standard in the game since Colors, which was collect all 5 in the level for each level, and then and like in that game you unlocked different levels to gain the Chaos Emeralds, and now you have the Chaos Emeralds. Then they did it in Generations. Generations, I think the way they did it was actually better because the game included, like, the story itself included the Chaos Emeralds, so you didn't have to earn them. You only earn them by completing the game. But the Red Rings were more like the abilities you could get, like Classic Sonic's homing attack if you collected, like, oh shit, all of Classic Sonic's
Oh,
all of Classic Sonic's Red Rings. If you collected all those, you get his homing attack, and then you get
wait, in
music,
which
artwork.
game?
Generations.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
That was one of the other games I completed. Was like, if you collect all of the
wow.
Red Rings, Classic Sonic will have a homing attack.
That's crazy.
Whereas,
So I'm not a completionist by any means. Like if I know where it's at, I'll do it. But the only game I've ever 100%ed has been Spider-Man PS4 and Ghost of Tsushima, and that's it.
see, Spider-Man was the one I completed too. It's just like Generations. I think was the first game to give me get a platinum trophy for. Because
Really?
there was like time trials you had to do as well. There were some random like secret like trophies you had to get. There was like a random spring in Green Hill that you had to jump on. But it's so interesting because it's like you don't even have to look up on the internet where the red rings are. The characters that stand in front of the level themselves, if you talk to them enough, they have like this like speech bubble above their heads where there's like a
Right.
a red.
It'll have the red ring there.
Yeah, and you talk to them, and it'll show that, and it'll tell you. They'll tell you where it's located, which I think was like that was the key. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. You do all the stupid mini game levels with the bells on top of them, and then you have to chase after the music note to get.
Now those I did all of those. I'm like a completionist in terms of content, but not collector. I guess I'll say.
I found
Like I'll do all the side missions, I'll do all the extra stuff, but I cannot do Like I love getting collectibles, but I'll get them as I get them.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what it is.
Yeah, because what was it? Sonic Forces took me about 4 hours to beat the main story, and then it took, like, spacing it out. It took me about 5 days to collect everything, get all the achievements. I think the hardest thing to do in Forces was, like, I think it was the 3 gold medals for each species, and that was its own thing. Like getting like, oh my gosh, that took forever. I think the other achievement was getting 1,000,000 rings, like
Oh,
total. And the
yeah,
only place you can get so many rings, because you're only allowed a total, like, in the inventory that you have is 999 rings, but it still collects them in terms of its
right.
stats. So as if you're even if you're at 999, you still can get more, and it counts those rings. I think it was wow, which one was it? It was the it was the fortress level. It's like, ah, damn
You
it.
got this.
What?
Oh, I said you got this. You can figure
It's like
it out.
when the
What's
sun is about to destroy the world.
uh, hold
It's
on.
oh man,
Forces.
it's like I don't know, the fourth. You're playing as your character and you're climbing the tower fortress. Is that what it is?
I don't think so.
I can't.
Hold on.
Like if I look on Spotify and the song is freaking there.
Is it the Iron Fortress?
I think that's what
Or
it
is it
is.
Mortar Canyon?
Oh, no,
Or is it
I
Imperial
think it's our.
Tower? There's three of them.
There's. Oh, damn it.
Which one has the local
The
one?
sun is falling in the sky beyond. The night is
Classic Sonic
fading
is Iron
from
Fortress.
that world.
Oh,
Now step
Classic Sonic is
back
Iron
back
Fortress. So I
away.
think it's Imperial Tower. Because Mortar Canyon is classic, I think. Yeah, it's Imperial Tower.
Is it Imperial Tower? Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Gosh, and here I am looking at all my playlists, and Sonic is nowhere to be seen for some reason. Yes, I have a Sonic playlist because
Oh, I
music is a bop.
music is a bop. That's one of my favorite things about Sonic. Just the abundance of great bops and great tracks.
Mm-hmm.
From stage themes to main themes. Hell, even their menu music they fire from most of the time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's Imperial Tower. I'm like, I want to confirm for myself that it's that. That's what the level was called. Uh, yeah, but that's just like there are some games that the earlier Sonic games. You like it wasn't a matter of being a completionist. The only way you can be a completionist is if you play the game over and over again and figure out how to get the Chaos Emeralds. Like in Sonic 2, like getting all the Chaos Emeralds, you're Super Sonic. You get the true ending, and that's Eggman doesn't juggle the Chaos Emeralds in his hands. But Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that was the challenge, was doing that. Cause
Yeah.
you had to one, you have to figure out where the rings are, like the big rings to get you to those locations. Then the challenge is making sure you don't screw up to get the emerald. Like you don't it doesn't matter if you get all the rings in that or not. You just have to get all the blue orbs and you're done. You're good. But other than that, it's just then I think
Those were hard.
Sonic
Those are hard for me.
Sonic Manias was
I love doing them, but they're just hard.
yeah, no, like don't get me wrong. I like Sonic 2's I think was my favorite. Like
I
Sonic
think
Sonic
my
1's is
favorite
still like
one.
still
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of that one. It gave me weird vibes. Yeah.
yeah,
I
and
think
then
it was the music.
they brought it back for Sonic 4 episode 1 and I'm like, "Oh, it's even worse cuz
Yeah.
it's timed."
Yeah.
It was worse cuz they
I think
timed you.
my favorite special stage is Sonic Rush on the DS.
Mm.
Um, I had such a good. I know a lot of people don't like that one, but you could like. So of course, as a kid, having a DS was like having the holy grail. Like it was.
If you had a
You were
DS, you were
just
cool.
yeah. So like you're using your stylus on the bottom screen, and you're watching Sonic move the way you're moving on the bottom with the top. that was fire, right?
Yeah.
Music, fire. Uh, a new day. And then it was basically like Sonic 2's, where you like, running up the ramp or whatever,
Yeah, you got the
and then you
half
can do
pipe.
the tricks off the spring, off the like little spring you like collect. It was so
Yeah,
fire,
whoa, yeah, 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 whoa, yeah.
man.
Sonic Colors did
All
something
right.
similar. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I think Sonic Colors on the DS did something similar to that, right?
Yeah,
Because
I think so.
that game was so different than on the Wii, though. That's what's weird to me.
Which that threw me off a lot.
Well,
Especially considering that the Chaos Emeralds were part of it entirely, whereas
yeah,
like in the main version of it they weren't. And I'm like, why?
that's what's weird to me about like they'll go through two totally different developments for the same game because it's not a matter of like I know they do this for some games where they'll have like the main game on the the consoles. Like let's just say a Lego game for example. It's the best example I can come up with because you're not going to find a lot of FPS shooters on a DS. So that's where I'm going with this. But you
Black
have
Ops One on the DS.
you know what? I think they had it on PSP though, which is what was interesting. But the what was it? Let's like I think it was Lego Indiana Jones. Like you'll get the main game. They'll have the same game except it's like dumbed down in terms of quality because they can't fit that much hardware onto a smaller like console. But it's still the same game. It's the same story. It's a different gameplay because they have to account for how little they have to work with. But with
Right.
because there's that. But with a Sonic game, it's so interesting how, like with Sonic Boom, where you have one completely different game on the Wii U, you'll have a completely. Well, I guess that makes sense because it's the different title. You have Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric and Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal, I think. On the
Something like that. Whatever we had going on back then.
it's like
And
okay,
then another one that was different was I just thought of it. I lost it. There was another one that was like, Lost World was different.
was it different in terms of story? Like story, I mean gameplay.
No,
I feel like was
not
kind of the
story.
same.
The stages were a little different, and the 3DS version had multiplayer.
Yeah, but I feel like the stages were only different to account for how the hardware that I was on. That's the thing about that's the thing about
Yeah,
having a
true.
main console game and then having a DS game that is the same game, but they have to like I heard if people are gonna rate the special stages, I think people say Lost World was the worst special stages. I don't know what
Which
specifically had
ones
to
were
do.
Lost World again?
Lost World special stages on the DS where you had to I think you had to hold the DS and you had to direct where you were going. It was like a motion control thing where you're
Oh,
using that. People said it was
yeah, it was
terrible.
pretty bad.
I never played
It was
it
pretty
like
bad.
that, but I just hear it's terrible. I'm just watching people try to do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, why did they do this? But Generations was different in terms of story because they had different stages. It wasn't your nine. I think they did.
Yeah.
It was Green Hill, which is they're always gonna go Green Hill. It was Casino Night. Then they did Mushroom Hill. Then they did what did they do for? I
Oh,
think
Generations.
I think it was I can't from I see sometimes I just won't remember the stages in some games that I just don't pay attention to anymore. Like I think it was Sonic it was the first stage in Sonic Adventure. It was like I almost wanted to say
Down,
No, Emerald Coast
uh,
was Sonic 2.
no, that is Emerald Coast.
No, Emerald Coast I thought Emerald Coast was Sonic 2.
Emerald Coast is SA1.
Is it ASA? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I am losing it.
So let me see. Let me
I'm
find
losing
it.
my trivia game here. I could do music fine. Like if you gave me the entire soundtrack of Sonic Unleashed and told me to guess what stage it's from, which version of it is it, I would be like, I know exactly what it is. I know the name.
So it's Emerald. So there's Green Hill, Casino Night, Mushroom Hill, Emerald Coast, Radical Highway, Water Palace, Tropical Resort, and Boss Gate.
Yeah, they have less stages in that game than they do in like Generations
Oh,
PS4 and
that's
Xbox.
Seven Zone.
Yeah, but yeah, it's okay. It's 7. It's 2 less than. feel like they were doing it in terms of like, well, Sonic
Why? How they
Rush is
have
a
two
part of
left?
that. Well, in generations PS4 and Xbox, not PS3 and Xbox 360, there was 3 for classic, 3 for adventure, and 3 for modern.
Oh, you're right. There was three, three, and three. Here
Which is why I'm
like
like,
it's
okay, I
one,
think they had less.
all one. So yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but that's just me being
So
like,
it's one left, but they had different games. But
yeah,
not
because
really
they had Sonic Rush for the
the 3DS version, but everything else was normal.
yeah everything else
Yeah,
was
one, two, three, and Knuckles, I guess.
yeah.
SA1, SA2, Rush, Color.
It's weird how they only went with the
So they
stage from
didn't.
Sonic and Knuckles.
Yeah. Oh, so they didn't have a. They didn't have a Sonic Unleashed stage.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when you're doing that with the 3DS is that they wanted to do some DS games, I guess. But what? Wait,
Yeah, it's true.
so they didn't do anything for Sonic Colors. They didn't do anything for Sonic Unleashed. They didn't do anything for Sonic 06. Wait, if it
No, they had colors. They had Tropical Resort. So they
that
didn't
makes
have
sense because
06.
it makes sense because they had Sonic Colors on the DS. Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
So
So
that
they did. So they didn't do 06. They didn't do Unleashed, and I think we're missing one game. They didn't do Hero. They didn't do Heroes.
this is what we call useless topics, where it's like we're not arguing about
Useless
anything. We're
trivia.
simply figuring out the facts that we aren't really sure about.
Yeah.
I don't even know where this began though. That's the thing. I'm like, what were we talking about?
What were we
How
talking
did we
about?
get to comparing the mainstream Sonic Colors to the DS version? Or I think we were talking about Sonic Rush or something. I'm like, no, I was talking about how
Oh,
like
yeah.
some games will have the main game on the console, but have the same game just dumbed down a little bit to fit the hardware. Or Sonic is just you'll have almost two completely different games. And I think
Yeah.
you even have the homing attack is a part of the story in the 3DS version of Sonic Generations. Like you get that by the time you get to the Emerald Coast like level, which is what I find interesting. I'm like, it's
Yep.
part of the story, but you have to earn it in the 360 version, which I'm like, yeah. But if we want to get to
Yeah,
like,
that was only.
if we want to get to downgrading, in terms of quality, there's the 360 version of Unleashed and the Wii and PlayStation 2 versions of Unleashed. It's like it's the same game.
Wait, I thought it was the other way around. I thought the PS3 version one wasn't as good as the 360 version.
The PS3 and the 360 games played the exact same. The quality on the 360 was better than that of the PS3. It was I
Yeah,
think
that's
it was
what
a
I mean.
faster frame rate. But there were certain things that were cut out
Other
of the.
little
It was little things, but it was practically the same game. Like if you played it on
right.
PS3, you wouldn't tell the difference on Xbox unless you had played it, and then you'd be like, "Oh yeah, there are a couple smaller details." Whereas the Wii and PS2 version were completely different games.
Completely different.
The story was the same, but the gameplay was completely different to fit and the fact that it even went onto a PlayStation 2 game is what blows my mind. Is like they're still making games for
And,
that hardware.
and I was like, they just made. Why did they make? Why did they even do that? Because there's. I don't even, like. Did they even use the same engine? Like, how did that even work? Like, how did they go? Yeah, let's put it on the Wii and the PS2, and then they realized like, oh, this isn't gonna work. So let's redo the entire game basically.
Yeah, because what
Like,
Shadow
how
the
did they get
Hedgehog?
to?
Shadow the Hedgehog was your last PlayStation 2 game. Then you had Sonic 06. You didn't even put it on the PlayStation 2 because it wasn't low enough quality to put it on there. But then you're like, oh, we're gonna make Sonic Unleashed for the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360. But I guess we could. No wonder they're in such a budget crunch or whatever. They're basically making two different games. It's like you have your
Yeah,
company split to make two completely different games. And it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, are they doing in this anymore? And it's like, not anymore. I don't think they quite have the manpower to do all that. Cause what was it? They were advertising I think it was a matter of like releasing two different games around the same time. I think Sonic 06 and Sonic Riders came out in the same year.
I think that Because '06 came right before Unleashed, I think. So
Yeah,
let's see. '06
2006.
came out, obviously, '06. So let's see. Unleashed came out in '08.
Yeah.
Secret Rings came out in '07. So that was the game we had. That actually brings me to another thing, too, was I feel like a lot of, especially the storybook games, Secret Rings, Black Knight, hell, they could have even had a third one. They could have done like some Arabian Nights type thing, or whatever the other one was, or like
That was Secret Rings though.
Persia like thing.
Like
Yeah, I mean like
Secret Rings was Arabian Nights. I'm like,
I mean the other one. There's like a third one that like a lot of people reference. But anyway, I feel like if they weren't on the Wii, they would have been fire. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
yeah, because I think the problem with Sonic games on the Wii was Sega was trying way too hard to incorporate the Wii's technology into their own games. That was my trouble with Sonic and
Exactly.
the Secret Rings was its controls were almost unbearable to play.
It was bad.
It was bad. Like people can think that like people will say like, "Oh, I love the storybook games." It's like Sonic and the Black Knight did something better where you had a little bit more control of what you were doing. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't like holding the Wii remote and then tilting forward or backward and doing the little shaky thing to do a homing attack, or you
I've
actually
always hated holding a Wii remote sideways.
yeah. And then like Sonic Colors did it better, where you're really just you only really shake it so you can activate your wisp. But other than that, like it didn't really require you to truly use the Wii remote's capabilities, which is why I'm like, why was Sonic Colors only on the Wii? And then it's just like, okay, Sega had this contract with Nintendo where it was like 3 Wii
That
games.
was such a shitty contract. I'm gonna throw it out there. Like I'm being serious. If those games weren't on the Wii, they'd have been fired.
I don't what 3 games were they? I think I want to say the 3 games that were I don't I think Colors was the
It
DS.
was
I don't think Colors was part of that because after that Generations was on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and the 3DS. I'm thinking the contract started with Lost
that's true.
World because I think it was Lost World. I think Mario and Sonic at the Winter Games 2014. I think it was
Yeah.
that one counted, and then boom, and that was it. After that, they're just like, okay, screw this, we're not doing this anymore. After boom, after the absolute failure that was Sonic Boom.
Yeah, it was. But I
Yeah,
feel like imagine if like Sonic Colors, not like even pushing past the storybook games. Imagine if Sonic Colors wasn't originally on the Wii and it played like Unleashed
well, that's the thing.
in terms of
We're
play.
gonna get that soon with the new Sonic Colors Ultimate, the remastered version. Which,
That is true. Comes out soon.
yeah, I think
But I feel like the only thing I noticed from like the commercials that the movement is still like from the Wii. Like if you notice the way Sonic moves isn't like Unleashed. It's like how Colors was on the Wii, which is of course is gonna happen. But like
I think
if I wish they would have like remade it instead of remastered it.
remaking a game. I think is obviously it's going to be remastering is simply taking the game that you have and just revamping its graphics. Remaking is
Like
completely tearing the old game down and building it from the ground up. And I just don't think Sega has the resources for that. Like knowing where
that's
Sega is right now, I don't think it has room for a remake. It's like they're talking about the troubles they're having with like it was rumored, but the whole Sonic Adventure remake and the Sonic Adventure 2 remake, and it's just like it probably won't happen because of how much focus they're putting onto the new game, which we know very little about. And they even said that I think it was too early for us to announce that this game is happening. But it's like people were even wondering like that was oh my gosh. And I want to get into that is like I wanted to talk about fan bases at some point with topics, but if we're gonna morph into a new like discussion in terms of Sonic, I want to talk about the fan base. Now let's talk about the good stuff first before I get into all the my complaints with the bad stuff because I
okay.
I put complaints in quotations because if there's one word I have to describe the bad side of the Sonic fan base, it's complaining. And a lot of fan bases do that. It's just, I can think of several examples of instances where I'm like, they're given, like, the Sonic fan base is given something, but it's not enough. So, but to talk about the good stuff, I want to talk about fan games. That's a great side of the fan base. That probably carries
No,
the
sorry if I
entire
keep
fan
looking
base.
away.
What?
I keep looking away. My box fan on my window keeps about to fall over because it's windy as shit right now. So my apologies if I keep looking away because it keeps
No, see,
teetering and
you're
making a bunch
talking
of
you're
noise.
talking about we're talking about fans here, and your fan is obviously
He,
a
he,
part of that
he
discussion.
wants to chime in, you know?
It's like, I need to talk about how Sonic Colors, the Rise of the Wisp, doesn't really follow Sonic's character.
I think it's funny in that they keep comparing him to Black Knight Sonic. And I'm like, that's two completely different things.
Yeah, and it's like, it's only one thing. It's like, oh yeah, Sonic and the Black Knight probably one of the best character, like, story for Sonic in terms of character, and it's like, yeah, but you're only comparing him to the one game, though. There's so many other games to compare him to.
Honestly, they're only comparing him to like two scenes, too. They're only comparing him to the one scene where Sir Gawain, I guess, you know, the Knuckles equivalent, is like about to off himself because he lost the Sonic.
It's mostly they're comparing Roger's rendition of Sonic to Jason Griffith's, because I'm like, that's not fair. First of all, the writing was completely different. The writing was almost surrounding, like, the writing was almost for the certain voice actors. Like, you have Drummond. Like, his Sonic was completely different than the ones we have now. And that's the thing.
Exactly.
Each voice brings something new to the character. It's not a matter of, like, this is the character. And I get it. Maybe that's the character that they prefer. Like, Jason Griffith's version of Sonic in The Black Knight is fantastic. And I just want to see that Sonic again. It's just like, I'm sorry. The only way you're going to see that Sonic again is if Jason Griffith comes back as Sonic. That's not going
we
to
all
happen.
know wouldn't happen.
It won't happen. And the other issue is, it's like, it's not the writing and it's not the voicing. It's simply the story that surrounds it. And it's like, Sonic and the Black Knight is whole about nobility. It's literally all about the knights and stuff like that. It's not merely, oh, Gawain is going to freaking kill himself. Like, that's a dark thing. And then Sonic's like, oh, get a grip on yourself. Like, that's funny. That's funny.
That was...
Like, it's not a matter of like, oh man, Knuckles is literally gonna kill himself in front of everybody, and then Sonic's just like, oh my gosh, my camera fell. I got so passionate about Knuckles. That's just what happens. I'm like, no, and I dropped it again.
Jesus.
It's because the cord. It's because the cord is like, I can't move things any further over, so I'm just like, there we go. It's like, can you see me? I'm totally keeping this in. This is
funny.
This is quality content. It's like, but that's the thing. If you're listening to this on like any sort of podcasting station,
anything else,
what the hell? Like, what the hell is going on over there? It's like,
you just hear a small crash, and that's it.
Just me adjusting my camera, and then everyone is like, oh, I got a picture. And it's like, well, you know, if you're listening on this, why don't you check out the YouTube channel? That's all you got to do. Then you could see this exact moment happening. See, maybe I could just edit this out, because now I got to readjust my chair. I feel like I'm going to fall off.
Oh.
All right. That's
going through so much right now.
That's better. That's much better. And now I've lost my train of thought. I think I was in something really good, but I think I was talking about Gawain and Knuckles.
We were talking about Gawain. We left. I did kind of take us away from the fan bases, but you can, whichever topic I was
trying. See, what I was trying to do, and you made me do this. I was trying to talk about the good side of the Sonic fan base, which was the fan games. But then we're like talking about like, actually, I think I started it because I was like, oh yeah, it's so, the Sonic is so different from the Black Knight, and it's just like get a grip on, like as Sonic said, get a grip on yourself. Like, I loved the short, first of all. I think the highlight of that short
was great.
Was Cubot. It was my favorite part of that. Where Metal Sonic shows up and it's like, we're so honored by your good, great, Awesome.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
Wait,
Amazing. And then he's just like,
did that shit, I
rocket.
had to pause it. I was laughing so hard. I had to pause it. I was laughing so hard. That was funny.
I was in the car waiting for that short to show up because I was driving out to, I think it was Saginaw, and I was waiting for it to release. I'm like, oh, it's finally here. I can watch, and I start watching it. And the moment that moment happened, I'm like, oh my, this is quality writing.
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, because it's like, oh yeah, Cubot's having some like voice like changes. I'm like, at least they're staying consistent with the timeline and where that's at. But
right.
it's so funny how it's like out of all the voice changes they could have done, that was the one they went with. I'm like, what a paying an homage to the actual game. It's like, and you're gonna completely overlook that with Sonic's character, and it's just like the whole story wasn't even about Sonic. That's the thing. And it's just like, okay, Sonic's not taking any care into the Jade Wisp's like story, and it's just like, no, he cares. He just don't want to make it seem like he does, and that's just him. That's just him. He does care.
The way I took it was he was just trying to like lift the Jade Wisp spirits up, give it a good laugh, instead of just sitting there telling this depressing story about how his friends sacrificed themselves for him.
Yeah,
which then the J-Webs then goes along with.
Yeah, so it's like, and it's like, I feel like people completely disregard the last part of that where Sonic's like turned around and he's like, if there's one thing I hate, it's bullies. And it's just like, so he was listening, but I mean, he kind of goes off and says like, oh yeah, just don't tell any more stories, please. And it's just like, he's an impatient little bastard.
Well,
that's his character. He doesn't.
That's his entire character. He doesn't wait.
It's like he's impatient. That entire scene is literally him toe tapping. That's literally what that was.
Literally just the Sonic 1.
He's like, either make it interesting or wrap it up real quickly.
He's like, all right, tell me the good bits so I can go beat up Eggman.
It's like, tell me the good stuff, or just completely like whatever. Maybe the second part probably would be better. Obviously, it was probably one of the fastest pre-orders I made was Sonic Colors Ultimate.
Oh yeah, immediately.
It'd be even faster if it was Unleashed, but we're not going to talk about that.
Oh, that'd be frame one in the store.
It's so
no question.
Yeah, right. What's so interesting though is how Sonic Colors was asked to be on PC for a while, same as Unleashed. But I think out of those two games, I want to say Unleashed was asked for more. But that's just
it definitely has been.
People were because they put Lost World on there, which was a Wii U game, and it's like, okay, obviously they can adapt a Wii U game onto like PC consoles and stuff like that. So you only see it on the Wii U and on the PC now. So, and Wii U's become almost, I feel like it's become more irrelevant than the Wii has, which is interesting because
Wii U is kind of tragic, to be honest.
Well, when you think, here's the thing. With the Wii U, you can't even think of any good Sonic games that even came out on the Wii U. Now, we can get into Lost World in terms of like the game. I want to get into this little segment I call Under and Over It, where I'm basically going to go down a list of basically most of the Sonic games, and we'll be like Sonic 1, overrated, underrated, or just good as is, or bad as is. Or like I'll do that with all the games, but we'll do that later. But yeah, it's so weird how, and I don't know how they do it. I don't know how they convert certain games onto a different system, because some games are like hardwared to fit certain systems. Like Forces was made to go pretty much everywhere. What else? I don't know. It's weird how they say they're multi-platform, but some of the times they'll be exclusive to certain consoles, and then others like Ultimate's going on all of the consoles. Generations was exclusive to only certain consoles, and so on and so forth. But it's just like, I don't know what it is about Unleashed that they can't put on PC, or I don't know what it is about Colors. I mean, they're putting
so much money.
Colors is being put on PC, and the way it's being put onto PC is it's being remastered for all consoles now, and it's like, okay,
right.
But it's not. It's honestly, for me, it's not a remaster I would have asked for. the game was, it was what it was. And if you like the game, I'm pretty sure it was good as is. And people now will be like, okay, the old game looks so much better. And I'm like, did it? No, it reminds me of the one meme of, what was it? Star-Lord and Spider-Man, where it's like, oh, isn't it still the greatest movie of all time? And then Peter Parker's just like, it never was. And that's how I feel like Sonic fans was like, it's like, Sonic Colors, oh, isn't it still the greatest game of all time? And I'm just like, it never was. That's how I feel.
It's
Like
funny. Colors was hated for years, and now look at it.
Now it's still hated. Now people are still hating on the game.
Well,
it's getting a graphic upgrade. It's getting new content. You're able to fight against Metal Sonic. You're able to, what is it? You're able to customizables, but not the customizable people would want to have in the Sonic game. But you still get customizables. They're adding a new Wisp into the game itself, which I think is pretty interesting if you think about it, because they have to completely kind of change the layout of certain levels to incorporate the new Wisp, where it's basically just going through walls, but like,
yeah, I know we'll see it when we get it, but like, is it more so changing the layout or just adding new shortcuts?
I think the level design stays the same, but I think they just change how you get to certain areas.
Right, that's what I mean about the shortcuts.
Yeah, it's just a new way to play the level. Is either you can simply swim up there, or you can just go through the walls and not really worry about it. It probably saves time in certain levels, which is what is interesting. So I think I'm gonna play it. That's the thing. That's the thing about being a Sonic fan, is even if the games don't look that interesting, or are like at first glance they're like, okay, there's something clearly wrong here. Like, I don't know if it's a glare or it's just like an aura around everything. Like, if you've seen the trailers, there's like this weird like glowing aura around everything that almost makes it hard to see or watch the game. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. Like, everyone's talking about how this is like this glowing aura around Sonic and around all the environments, and I'm like, can we tone that down a little bit? Mm-hmm. And I think what's unfair is also like people comparing like certain areas of the levels to the old game. And it's like, oh yeah, the color difference is much different. Like, why does Sonic have soulless eyes? And it's just like, it's like, you know, you're still going to play it. You're just going to complain about all the little details. And it's like, that shouldn't take away from the gameplay, though. The gameplay, I think, is just going to stay the same. Maybe a little smoother. It's going to be the same. It just won't look the same. And that's the whole point of a remaster. There are some graphic upgrades. Although I would say that...
The thing I found interesting...
What?
Oh, there you go.
No, you go.
The thing I found interesting was just, like, the fact that they keep comparing it to, like, this emulator. And I'm like...
The Dolphin emulator. It's basically playing Wii games on your PC, and you can give it a super upgraded graphic boost that the Wii didn't have originally. And if they're comparing it to a Dolphin emulator, which it's technically piracy because you're downloading the whip of the game online for free, and then you're putting it, you're simply putting it onto this emulator and you're playing it. And people are comparing it to this, and it's just like, this isn't good for Sega, and this is the only way that they're able to play Colors on their PC, and people may prefer this version. And it's just like, if you want to play the classic version of Colors, then do that. Fine, don't invest in the new Ultimate. But it's just like, are you? I only do it for certain games, and certain games you can't even get anymore. It's like I feel like I'm not going to deny that I haven't used the emulator, but I'm only doing it in the Nintendo games.
You know what it is? I think that's why they decided to do Colors. They were like, oh, y'all want to pirate our game? All right, cool. We're going to make a new one.
We're going to make a new one. And now they're like, oh, man. But that's the thing. It's not Sonic Team doing the remaster. I don't remember what they were called. I
can look it up.
It was like Dark Squirrel or something. It was a weird name.
Something like that.
It was an outside game developer that was going to do the remaster. And it's like, I mean...
Oh, it's raining. Oh, okay.
I just simply want
It's
to see
Blind Squirrel.
blind.
Is that bad? I don't really. I don't.
No. I just remember someone had posted talking about it. It's like, they really do represent their name. Can they not see the game they're developing, the
Oh,
game they're remastering? Like, I'm pretty sure that
oh. So they did Bioshock and Mass Effect.
like that's the games they did or they helped work on.
That's the games that. So they did the Bioshock, the collection, and Mass Effect Legacy Edition.
I think those are basically like ported remasters. So they kind of
Oh, okay.
do remaster. It's mostly just cleanup. It's the same game but just cleanup. But I think they wanted Sonic Colors Ultimate to be just more than a cleanup and more or
Right.
less a like complete almost revamp. Like adding new cosmetics, adding new like game modes, adding time trials, making I'm hoping they make the game at least a little bit more difficult with the Metal
Yeah.
Sonic like rival rush that they're adding. Like
Yeah.
I don't want it to be
It is
that.
interesting too because they're gonna have the like tail save.
I think you have the option to turn that off.
I heard you do. I heard you do.
I think that's an option. I hope the music is optional. I
I
think
heard that was confirmed. I know that one's true. You can switch
okay.
between the classic
Yeah,
and the remastered music.
it's like some of the remasters are like great. Some of the remixes are like fantastic. Where others, I'm like, okay, I would prefer like I prefer the original over the new one. What's oh my
I agree.
the post that someone made? It was Jun Sonoe did the it was the Ferris wheel boss. He had done the guitar cover of
Oh, I
that,
know exactly what you're talking
and
about.
people were talking about how
Yeah.
like it's like I love the music, but I hate how fast this boss fight. It's like a 30-second
I was
boss
like,
fight for like a minute and
they're like,
30.
man, can't wait for this to be on screen for 30 seconds. I remembered exactly what you were talking about. That was a funny tweet.
I'm like, it's just like you don't even get to enjoy some of the boss music. Like the boss music for it was the asteroid coaster planet, and I think it was Starlight Carnival. Those two, because like the bosses are just like duplicates with just a little extra gimmicks to them. But
Yeah,
my favorite bosses are the Starlight Carnival one and the asteroid coaster, where you're just running down straight down a strip, and it's these big flying ships, and you have to get close to it, jump up to it, and then do a homing attack on it like 100 times before it starts falling apart. I like those. Like those were fun, and the music was like.
those are.
I hope Jon Snow did that one too. That would be.
That would be fire.
It would be
Yeah,
fire.
those are my. I like those bosses. I think my favorite boss in the entire series is still Egg Dragoon. Specifically the Sonic Generations version.
I'm pretty sure I think you've talked about how you love the one in
Yeah.
Generations. It's a good modern Sonic boss, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it was like you had a lot going on. You used a lot of your skills to like actually defeat the boss. Got a lot of speed and timing and stuff. It was a lot going on. A lot of cool references.
Yeah, I want to go
Yeah,
through like I think I want to go through like each game and just go like I feel like we should do that like in
go
terms
through
of
all the bosses.
which game had like the better bosses, not just in terms of the gameplay. Like I think one of like in terms of modern classic Sonic, I'm going to say modern classic Sonic cuz anything from Generations forward in terms of classic Sonic, that's what I mean. In terms of
Okay.
bosses, um the Death Egg robot from Sonic Generations was probably
Right.
it was a great way to implement classic Sonic into a 3D game because it was a 3D environment but you're still going 2D, and I think that's the kind of
They did that one well.
yeah, they did that well. And then you had I mean, the Metal Sonic one was kind
The
of
rival battle.
the Metal Sonic one was kind of like straightforward in terms of like it's a couple hits and done, and it's a couple hits and done with but like you have to be smart about it. You can't just like expect things to happen. You have
Yeah.
to make sure he hits the bomb. You have to make sure you have enough platforms to get onto his arm, roll up, and then bam, you hit him. I think you have to hit him twice, if I'm correct, or is it just
In the hard mode is 3 times.
oh yeah, there's a
Oh
hard
yeah,
mode.
it's probably twice.
Okay, yeah, the rival ones are so kind of interesting, but That's a
I
good
like the
boss.
rival one personally.
Yeah, rival. Like the rival ones are good because like you have Shadow, which is it's interesting. It's practically a race, and then you get the whatever orbs you get, and then you're basically invincible, and then you just basically ram up his ass, and then knock him out.
Right.
Silver
One
is
way
he
to
gets
play it, I
crushed
guess.
by his own meteor smash, so and then Metal Sonic just gets kicked and yeah, the Egg Dragoon was fun in that one. The I'm I think I've talked about this where the supersonic stages in like the final bosses, the supersonic ones are kind of like underwhelming in a sense. Like
I think the issue is there's only so much you can do with Supersonic because the entire gimmick is that you're invincible, and the only way you can like die is either
yeah, the
a
only way you
literal like
stay invincible
crush
is rings.
or in rings, right?
Like if I
So
were
I
to go
feel like that's the only problem.
like if I were to go through each game and say like which if I were to say Sonic Adventure's supersonic stage, was it good or was it just meh? And I'm like it was kind of I mean because
No, I'd say that one was good.
you had your open your
I'd say the
heart
Sonic
phase and
Adventure
then
games, yeah,
and
the Sonic Adventure ones were good for Supersonic because you just like it was a lot. It was a little bit more than just flying forward and hitting something. There was actually like gimmicks and like stuff that you had to like dodge and this and that.
yeah, right.
Um, Adventure you were actually like basically still running, but you were just like hovering over the ground.
Yeah,
Um,
you were just
and
faster
then
and you had to
yeah,
maintain that momentum if you were to actually
right.
hit chaos.
And then of course we have Bio Lizard, or Final Hazard or whatever you want to call it, where it was just like it was like a Dragon Ball Z fight as much stuff
Yeah,
as you
you're
were dodging.
simply just dodging things, running into the core, and then switching with Sonic or Shadow. Then you have
Right.
Sonic Heroes, which, as I said at the beginning of this, I'm not quite familiar with the game, so I can't put any opinion on it. And that's the thing. I will not put an opinion on a game I haven't played. Like fully. Like I've seen cutscenes and I think it looks cool. I just haven't played it, so I won't say how the supersonic stages play out or anything. Although the only complaint I have is that it's like Shadow just lets Sonic uses his super form. He's like, "We'll distract the monster while you use your ultimate powers." It's like Shadow, come
Yeah,
on!
I thought it was such a weird retcon that like only like hedgehogs could go super. So like in Sonic Heroes, Knuckles and Tails just get this super shield instead of having their super forms from the classic game.
They get the friend shields.
Um, yeah, I thought that was super weird,
Man,
and I'm like,
I want Super Knuckles again. And it's like you get it in Mania. It's like Mania was the only game that was like, oh yeah, Super Tails exists, Super Knuckles exists,
yeah,
Super Mighty and Super Ray exist.
I don't think they had like super forms. I think they just had like protection from like power from
They get buffs.
yeah, they just got buffed.
They got chaos buffs, and basically, they're not like super, but they just get like Knuckles just turns pink, and Tails just turns a little extra yellow, and that's really it.
And he gets the
He
birds.
gets the birds, which I don't know what they do. Do they give him extra flight ability? Yeah,
I think they literally are just there to represent who people want
Let's
because
talk
he's
about
already
the
dead.
lore of Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's talk about the Archie
So
Sonic.
Archie Sonic,
I am so unfamiliar
um,
with it, but like people tell me it's like
yeah, Archie Sonic is wild because I know they have like tons of different stories. They cover some different games. They have a lot of their own stories. A lot of the artwork is kind of pretty interesting, depending on who's writing the story that week, I guess.
yeah,
Um, I'm more familiar with the IDW that's currently going live.
yeah.
Or that's currently monthly or whatever.
Because I think that's technically canon, isn't it? It's canon in terms
I
of
don't
its
know if
after forces,
it's
and
comic
that's
book canon.
yeah,
Like I don't know if it's gonna be brought up in the games that this happened, but like obviously this takes place right after Forces ended
yeah.
in IDW.
Uh, yeah, it's so yeah that whole thing was interesting. But then you have what is it?
Well, just realized with this light, it's covering my glasses. So like, if I put my head a certain way, it looks like I'm the anime character. That's
It's that sharp sound, that teleport sound, that free shink.
yeah.
I mean, I could wear glasses and I think I get the same glare. My camera's just on this weird platform. Like, just go like.
Look at that sophisticated gentleman right there.
If I just put
Oh,
like pain on top of my screen, and all you see is pain.
pain. It's like those TikToks where like they'll have something like playing on the computer, but it'll go through their glasses.
Just playing around with my blue light glasses. Should have been wearing them, but staring at my own face in the screen. But that's fine. Um, we were talking about comics. I was talking about Archie comics in terms of like apparently Sonic is like is super OP in Archie, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's wild.
like it's like I'm pretty sure he can rival Goku's power, and I'm like, man, I wish they had used the comics in the remastered
I've been
Death
saying
Battle
that for
against
years.
Mario.
No, I thought you were talking about how they should use the comic stories for like game
Well, no, no,
inspiration.
no.
I've been
They
saying
should
that
have
for years.
used it for games. I agree, but I was talking because they were talking about how like Mario's more powerful than Sonic in terms of strength. It's like it doesn't matter how fast Sonic is. It's just like this was a bullshit fight, and it's like they didn't even use the Archie comics, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I used to like well, I used to watch Death Battle, but I'd like literally skip to the fight because they spent like 10 minutes talking over a 2 minute animation and then another 5 minutes of debrief, and I'm like, dog, I don't care about all that.
Well, cause like they had two fights. They had the one that happened years back between Mario and Sonic won that one. But then they redid it because it was their 100th death battle. And they're like, we're gonna do one of the best ones we've ever had, and that's Mario versus Sonic. And then they redid it, and Mario completely like crushed him. And I'm like, what? Like, what was the difference? And it's like, oh yeah, they actually do like crazy in-depth analysis. Is like, oh yeah, Mario can lift up a whole castle with his bare hands, and that's like the same mass as this whatever math problem they put together. And
I
doesn't have that power. And it's just like, okay,
I've heard that like a lot of the numbers are BS though.
they have to be. I'm like, I feel like it. No, I feel like it's favoritism. Like it's fan
Yeah, I
favorite.
think a lot of I've heard that a lot of their like calcs and stuff aren't even like real.
Like it's just like it's like is it based off like all of the comics, or is it based off a synopsis of each character in terms of their abilities, and like what how
Right.
deep of your research is, like how much research do you actually put into this, and is it like is it biased whatsoever? And it's just like I feel like there's so much information you're still leaving out. And if it's based purely on the games, then okay, sure, Mario can beat Sonic. But if you were to implement literally every bit of detail that is about a certain character, then I don't know. Well, that's the thing. It's like Archie comics aren't really canon, so it's like, do we really count the canon stuff over what's not canon? And it's just like, I guess Archie comics don't really matter. It's just like, what? How powerful can Sonic become? How powerful is he in the movie? I don't know. He's not. He hasn't been supersonic yet. I think he was supposed to be, but people would have been confused because it's like, who the fuck is this? Who the heck is this?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's interesting that they kind of defaulted to the whole lightning thing for movie Sonic.
Uh, I okay, yeah. We're gonna move into the movie now because people have talked about how like our because I think there was a collab with Sonic the Hedgehog for an app that was recent, and they saw the lightning come out of Sonic, and people were like freaking out over it because they're like, no, Sonic is wind, Knight of the Wind. He creates wind. Like in Sonic 06, it's like, oh yeah, it's Sonic's presence in the wind, and it's just like Sonic is the sound barrier. He has nothing to do with the speed of light, and it's like Sonic is not as fast as the speed of light. And that's the thing. Sonic is
Yeah.
as fast. He breaks the sound barrier. He's faster than the speed of sound. He's free as the wind, and it's just like I don't have a complaint in terms of using and implementing both, but keep it consistent. Like, the movie uses lightning
Yeah,
because it kind of makes sense in terms of cinema and in terms of what makes sense for a broader audience.
and then also I think they tried to like bring physics, like science into it. And I'm like, how much science can you really bring into a 3'3" blue hedgehog that can break the sound barrier
Like,
when he's
how do you.
jogging?
And the whole plot was reliant on Sonic's power. But how do you show that power if
Yeah,
his power is wind? And you really can't. But if it's a pure energy that's able to basically act as like a supercharged EMP, then that's different. But if it was wind, it would have been completely different. You probably would have caused a huge scale tornado in Green Hill, and that would have been that would have been devastating.
that'd have been bad.
What caused this tornado? Oh, it was a natural disaster or whatever. It's like, wait, this can't happen in Montana. And it's just like, well, then what happened? It's like, oh, the hedgehog did this, and Eggman goes out.
All right, my fan has officially fell over.
I know the fans fell over the like. I think my first impressions of watching the movie for the first time, and granted, it was the events that led up to how I was like why I was where I was, why it was happening, but um, it was watching that movie made me feel like I was a kid again, because
I know, right?
all those moments where you're just like, man, I'm watching my apps. This is the character that I grew up loving, and now it's just like I'm watching this. Other kids are enjoying it. I'm enjoying this as an adult now. It's like I have adult money. I can buy adult tickets to watch other movies, and I'm just watching this, and I'm like, this is great. And obviously, I could understand subtle like um, Easter eggs every now and then, but obviously there will be some that I missed, which is pretty cool. But yeah, just and then I'll watch it now, and I'll be like, okay. As a Sonic movie, I love it. But as a movie to get people into this franchise, it's interesting because it's not for like. I see. Here's the thing. I think the thing is, I don't know where they're gonna go from here. Right? They obviously confirmed a second movie. I think it was kind of unfair the circumstance it was put in when the movie was released, because it beat Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It beat a DC movie. Out of the weekend after it, I think Birds of Prey came before Sonic the Hedgehog, and then that movie came
Something
out.
like that, and then COVID happened.
No, the DC. No, here's the thing. What was funny is DC fans were so salty that the Sonic movie was making more money than the DC movie that they were literally.
I remember that.
They were talking about how like there was something. I don't know if it was like they're like, oh, the Sonic movie, there's something super racist in it or whatever. And it's like they haven't even seen the movie. The movie isn't even out yet. And yeah, COVID did happen, and it didn't even air in China, so that's where most of its money's going to come from. And that didn't happen, so it's like, okay, they still confirmed a sequel because it was the highest grossing movie of 2020. And that, I mean,
Literally,
it's just like, wow, that's so weird. And it probably would have made more money had COVID not happened, and it wouldn't have been the highest grossing movie of that year. But still, it's so weird how COVID messed that up, but they still confirmed a sequel for April 2020. And now I'm like, see, my guess was that they were gonna my prediction was that they were gonna release the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 trailer before the Spider-Man trailer. That was my prediction. Cause I'm like,
oh wow,
man, they're never gonna release this trailer. They're just gonna release the movie without a trailer. I'm like, oh, okay. But then I'm like, you know what? I bet the Sonic movie trailer would come out before the Spider-Man trailer. And I'm like, oh, well, here we are a day after the trailer came out. And I'm like, oh, great. Good thing I didn't put money on it.
I think some people were saying on TikTok that that WandaVision told everyone when the trailer was coming out.
Yeah, it said August 23rd. Like it was the random calendar date on the first episode where it's just like, what's the significance of this date? And it's like, oh, August 23rd. I don't know. There's a heart on it, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel like Kevin Feige was pressured into releasing that trailer because of the leak trailer that came out,
and then it got leaked.
Yeah, it got leaked, and then they're like,
well, no, because I saw they were like, oh, we're gonna. I saw something. They were like, yeah, it's about to get released in 2 days, and then it got leaked.
Yeah, And
So
then
like that means it was like on the conveyor belt on the way down that someone snatched it.
someone was like, "Okay, we're gonna do it." I didn't get a chance to see it when it was leaked. That's the thing. I mean,
I didn't want to see it in the league.
and that's the thing. I hope people aren't complaining about it because think about how many people have like asked for the trailer and they're
Uh-huh.
asking and asking and complaining and being like, when are they gonna release
When
the
the matter of
trailer?
fact,
Then they get a trailer, and are they the kind of people? That's the other thing about. I'm glad we're going back into this because I feel like this happens with they had the Sonic Direct. I don't remember what they called it. It's like Sonic Central or something, or what was
I,
it?
I think it's Sonic Central.
Yeah, that when that came out, they released the Sonic Colors Ultimate trailer. They did a bunch of other like collabs and all that stuff, and they're releasing. And then they had the what was it? The Sonic Rangers or whatever they're gonna call it trailer come out.
It was leaked. They leaked that it was going to be called Sonic
And
Rangers.
I
I don't
swear,
know.
I'm all over Twitter and I see people talking about stuff, but the one thing I've been seeing, and I think I unfollowed a couple people who were just their only posts were about because I think last year they announced that they were in development of a game, but they didn't really talk about it until
Right.
they had further news to talk about it. And then all I see is that people were like, "When are you going to announce the next game? Oh my gosh, it's almost the 30th anniversary and I can't believe you haven't had a game announced yet." And it's just like, could you
Hmm.
just shut up? Like
Man,
people make it seem like this is the only thing that they have to look forward to, and it's just like just let them do them. Like it doesn't matter how long a game takes. It's like I'd rather have a quality game over a game that's rushed. And the fact is they even said that the announcement was rushed simply to
oh wait,
appease the fans who have been just tirelessly talking about like when are you going to release a trailer, when are you going to release a trailer, when are you going to even at least announce that there's a game. And it's like they already announced that there was a game in development, but now they're just like,
hmm
but now they want more. They're like, oh, I can't say much about the game because since there isn't gameplay. And it's like I'm not going to say that the game is good or not because obviously there's no gameplay. And it's just like I can't believe we're getting another CGI like teaser trailer. I'm like,
wait,
you
what else do you
asked for
want?
some. Like, what else do you want? Like, it's like, do you want the game now as is? Sure, I'm sure they'd be willing to do that. Like, old Sega would have just given you the game on the release date without any sort of delay. But like, I feel like there's a trend now with games
They need to
and
take their time with
delaying,
this one.
and it's just,
But to go back to the Spider-Man thing, uh, people have been asking for the Spider-Man trailer so much that the Spider-Man like official like Twitter tweeted. And so like after the trailer, they posted the trailer, and then 3 hours later they were like, "You all better be watching this as many times you asked for it." And I died laughing. It was so funny.
yeah, but I'm like for as long as you ask for a trailer, like if you're asking for news, if you're asking for a trailer, don't I don't understand why you're so disappointed. I I'm going to lean into this is going to go into forces because it's a matter of setting yourself up for high expectations and then being told something and then ultimately you either want more or you're let down due to just like it's a lot of things now. Like people
Yeah.
I think people rely too much on like either I don't know what it is. Like with WandaVision, people were like not as happy about the ending of it. And it's like the ending was the ending for it it because people were like, Doctor Strange is going to show up in it. A bunch of other characters need to show up in it, and it's just like, yeah, but I feel like adding characters with a higher value in terms of the universe that it's set in, putting characters like that into a show that's about those characters, I feel like it takes away from the entire plot. It's like
Yeah, I
the
feel like the
story is
issue is a
meant
lot of
about
people
Wanda
theorize
and
too much.
Vision. Like it's
Right.
about Scarlet Witch and it's about Vision, but they're if you put Doctor Strange into that to be some sort of hero, it takes away from that. And it's like I think the ending
Right.
happened, and I think it was a good ending because that's how it should have ended. You don't need to add. It's the same thing with like Star Wars. It's like you don't need to rely on throwing in characters to take away from the plot. It's simply like a nice homage to like certain characters, and it's like and that's the thing. It's like, but now it's people constantly asking for a trailer when clearly the developers are waiting for the right time. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
people, because we were supposed to have, what was it? I think it was the South by Southwest convention. They were supposed to, Sonic was supposed to have a panel, and people were talking about, it's like, oh,
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
were supposed to announce the game there, or the Sonic Colors game there, and it's just like, no, I seriously doubt they were going to announce that. Maybe there was a huge delay in the game's development. This was 2020. We're in 2021 now.
Right.
Like, there's like, was the game supposed to come out this year? And it's just like, I think people completely disregard that COVID happened. Like, it
I
put
don't
a
expect the
complete
game to
halt
come
on
out to
certain
like
game productions.
2023.
What?
I don't really expect the game out to 2023.
Yeah, and it's just like, honestly, I've waited this long, and it's like, your last mainstream game was 2017. Like, between that and now is a huge wait. And it's just like, what were they
Mm-hmm.
doing between 2017 and now? And it's just like, well, you had 2018, 2019, 2020. Sonic Team didn't really have a whole lot of involvement with Team Sonic Racing, I don't think. There wasn't any other. Other than that, there wasn't really many other Sonic games coming out. It was merely just comics,
Well,
and then
yeah, they've been focusing on the comics. They've been focusing
there
on
was the movie.
the mobile games,
Oh
the
yeah,
movie.
yeah, but you have Hardlight doing that. Hardlight's the one focusing on the mobile games.
Oh,
But
that's
if I'm
true.
thinking Sonic Team, what have they been doing since 2017? Like, they finished the game, and now they're like, we have to be working on the next thing. And they announced that they were in development of a new one, I think in 2008. No, I don't know when they announced it. Because 2019 is when they announced the movie that was supposed to come out in November, but then they're like, okay, we're pushing it back to February to do a character design, which, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank
Oh,
God. Thank you.
I
Thank
was
you,
so
Tyson
worried.
Hess. Thank you, Tyson Hess. Tyson Hess literally came into the franchise like, I'm gonna fix this. Like, he came in Sonic Mania, made them animations, and is like, I'm gonna fix this.
Because they realize that fans are doing it better than they are.
And that's where I think it's funny how originally I was
That's
going to talk about the good side of the fan base that is Sonic, but I ended up talking about how Sonic fans complain about not getting what they want. But then we'll talk about the good stuff, which is fan games. Fan
fan
games
games.
are
Fan games, fan
phenomenal.
animations, all of that.
Yeah, I can talk about all the fan stuff that I can
Have
like.
you seen that new one that was announced at that like I guess like fan game convention thing where it's Sonic Rush but 3D
Sonic Rush 3D. It was a 3D remake, and the music was like Sonic Rush mixed with
with Windmill Isle. It
Windmill
was
Isle.
fire because so it popped in and it's like they have a cutscene. And I'm like, oh, wow, they mean it. They got a cutscene going, and it's
Yeah.
Windmill Isle. You know, it's a Windmill Isle playing in your ear. Then it fades to black and fades to the stage, and then Water Palette starts playing. So it's like dun dun dun
And then
dun
Windmill
dun,
Isle starts
dun,
playing it.
and then all you hear is how did it go? It's like oh, dun, 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 dun. I was like, in the whole time, all you hear is dun, 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 and it's just, dun, dun, dun. I'm like, whoa,
See, there's that. I
that
think there
was
was a.
fire. That
I
was
think there was a
fire.
Sonic Riders remake, like a remake
Yeah, they're redoing that.
with that. It's just the fan games are incredible. I think it was Sonic Omens
It's
is the
so
one I
good.
got. Sonic Omens was one I got on PC, and I'm like, I'm gonna try this. I think I'm on the Discord. And I'm looking at it, I'm playing it, I'm like, okay, for a fan, that's the thing. I have to put for a fan game in front of saying something because obviously there's not a huge development behind these games. So
Like sometimes it's one person.
I can't be too hard on it. And I'm playing Sonic Omens and I'm like, this is great, but like there's like you can point the flaws and I think they know that and it's just like, well, I mean, but I can't be too hard on them because it's like, man, for a fan game, this is great. And that's the thing. I have to
So I'm
put for
looking
a
at
fan game.
I'm looking at the Sonic Rush 3D remake right now
Uh-huh.
just to hear the song and just to like the remix of Windmill Isle is by itself is low key fire.
Oh yeah.
And I wanted to know like where they got like how they did that song and where I can listen to it at because it's fire.
It's like, is it on Spotify? Is it? Is it
Man,
anywhere I could listen to? I think one of my favorite fan games, and it has so much put into it. It's the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 HD remake.
Okay. My favorite.
It's the logo I have right behind me. Actually, it's this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
It's that one because it's such an interesting story. Actually,
Okay.
I'm still learning Adobe Illustrator, and they were looking into hire the developers who were making Sonic the Hedgehog 2 HD. I mean, the original developers of that, you had T. Lopes was originally doing music for that, but he kind of just left whatever music he did, and then I have someone else doing it. But then they just have a bunch of smaller developers working on it. They were looking for a vector artist, and I'm like, I know how to use Illustrator. I can use. I'll try this. I swear, going through that whole process was so long to the point where I'm like, I just don't think I can give them what they need because I just don't know how to do it yet. Like, they're like, just try and replicate this vector art. And I'm trying, and I'm like, there's just something about Illustrator that I don't know yet. And I'm still learning how to use it. But I was like going through this whole interview process, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I was almost part of this development. And I'm just like, I'm going through this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, I hope this is good enough. And they're like, oh, we want it to look like this. I'm like this. And I'm like, it's like, I love what they're doing, but I feel like they have really high standards as far as how they want it to look. And I get that. I really get that. It was, see, here's the thing. It was either making vector art for the backgrounds, for like background props, like aquatic ruins, like the weird bird beak, like the things that Eggman uses to shoot arrows at you.
Okay.
In the final boss fight, or it was making enemies, or it was making the flickies, like the animals basically. And I was trying to make Pecky, which was the penguin, like flicky.
Oh,
I was trying to make that. I was trying to make that one, and I'm just like, I had it, and like I'm thinking like this looks. That's the thing in my head. I'm like, this looks really good, but the way they wanted it to look was so different than how I had imagined it, because. And it's just like, I could recreate the shape. It's the shading that I have an issue with. That's my problem. And it's just like, I can't recreate the color. And I'm just like, what is going on here? And I'm just like, I appreciate your time. I just can't do this. And then just nothing back from them. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Thank you. I tried my best. I wanted to be a part of a cool development team, but I'm like, you know what? They know what they want. And if what it costs is a great game, then I don't need to be a part of it. It's like, I'm not ashamed of my art skills. It's just they want something, they want it, and I just can't offer it.
Right. Yeah.
But that's one.
It seems like it was a lot.
It's so much. It's so much.
Like I said, I know nothing, next to little about art. I tried drawing a few things, didn't go that well.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just like, it's coming full circle, and it's like, man, I started out my art career with Sonic. Man, I hope I can use it to do something with Sonic. And like, being a part of this fan game is awesome. And it's just like, nope, didn't happen. It's like, did not happen. And I'm like, and it's like, does that push me to be better and get me motivated to be better? And it's just like, well, I hope so. I hope I can be better at it. But I loved playing that fan game, though. I think it was clean. It was a really clean game. And the music was so good. Like, T. Lopes does a great job. I think him and Jun Sonoe and Team Sonic Racing were... Yeah.
Fire. Mm-hmm. But real quick, going back to this, I just realized that as you transition from Apothos to fully water powers,
yeah,
the windmill aisle parts of the song stop. I didn't realize that at first. That's fire. Sorry, I was just listening.
Yeah. He was talking about. It's like I'm so focused on Sonic Rush 3D right now. It's like, I gotta play it. And it's like, I don't care what Kevin's saying.
I wish I could say I don't have an actual PC, as you can tell by my terrible aiming again.
Yeah, but I think fan games can really, like, because Mania is a fan game. That's literally what it is.
Basically, yeah.
You have your most well-known fans and people like Christian Whitehead. Originally, he created. He was making the engines to remaster Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, I think that was the only instance where I actually beat Sonic 2 like 100% was on the Christian Whitehead version of Sonic 2. Because, like, the special stages were so much easier to interpret and actually get through. Whereas the older versions, I'm like, okay, I can still do it because I know how the stages are laid out. It's just you can't see further down because it's not rendered properly. They basically re-render it in 3D so you can see it easier in the Christian Whitehead version. So then you have Tyson Hess, who made like fan comics, and he was making comic books for the Archie comics for a little. Actually, he started doing IDW. I mean, he's been doing IDW. And then who else? T. Lopes was making fan music. And then you get these three guys to make a new fan game, to make a new game. They get Christian Whitehead for the engine. They get a bunch of other guys to do it.
You get like Harper Potions.
They get Studio Yada and Tyson Hess to work on the animation of it, like the intro animation, and then you get T. Lopes to just make some like freaking bangers of music in Sonic Mania, and it's just like you're basically getting some passionate fans to work on this, and obviously they're passionate enough to make a quality game, which is the highest rated Sonic game since in like 15 years since it came out, and it's just like,
oh yeah, crazy.
And I think what sucks is that it's a prequel to Sonic Forces. Technically, it's like a spin-off prequel, because if you get the true ending of Sonic Mania, it leads into why Classic Sonic is in Sonic Forces.
Yeah.
Because the theme of Mania plays as soon as he shows up, and it's just like, if he only was as cool as he was in Mania, this game probably would have done something good. But now we can talk about Sonic Forces, the last mainstream Sonic game to have come out. or do you want to talk about it when we do Under and Over It with all the rest of the games?
Up to you. However you want to do it.
You know what?
I still have some fan game stuff to say, honestly.
All right. We'll wrap up the fan games, and then I'm just gonna morph into the next segment of this.
All right, so I guess for like fan games, like specifically, I will say my favorite fan game was this Sonic Rush-esque game where it was like I think it was called like Sonic versus Darkness or something. And it was played either Sonic or Shadow, and it's like these really cool like Sonic Rush stages with like the advanced graphics, but like HD of course. My other favorite ones were like the Final Fantasy Sonic X games.
Yes, I remember those.
Those RPG ones,
yes.
and Sonic RPG specifically. Those were my favorite. And then obviously going even past fan games, then we got like Sonic fan animations. We got like Super Mario Bros. Z. We got
Nazo is one of the best ever, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I still watch.
I can wait. I can wait. I want Shocker X to be.
He said he's not working on it. He said he's not working on it right now.
I hope he's just saying that because he's on and off about it, and I know there's
Let me see.
That's the thing, though. That's the thing.
I think he said it.
I don't want him to give up on the project. That's the thing.
I think he did.
Oh, God damn it! But that's the thing. You might as well release what you have, even if it's just storyboards. Like, a lot of it is probably animated, and it's just a matter of cleaning up. Because what was it? It's supposed to come out in 2019. Was the original release date, but then that's the thing about fan animations, though. If you have a release date, then you have to either stick by it, or you need to be more realistic in terms of. Now, I'm not criticizing him for saying, "Oh, I don't want to do this anymore," because that's stressful. You have your own bills to pay, you have your own job to go with, and you have to focus on the animations that actually that matter, right?
I found the tweet.
Did you?
All right, so on August 6th, he tweeted off, "Ooh, finally admitted to myself that Wrath of Nazo just has to be on an indefinite hiatus. I don't work on it consistently, and even my non-Sonic fan art and my Soul and Luna stuff, which definitely needs more fleshing out, kind of took a backseat to life." Yeah, I was devastated.
I didn't see that. If I would have seen that, I would have been like, oh. It was the only thing that I would have been like, you take your sweet ass time on this because when it comes out, it's going to be the best thing that has ever happened. But
I was, man.
that animation because like the original one, I just loved its story, and it was just using like voice clips from the actual games. But this one, it would have been so original. It would have been so great. That's the thing though. I think with fan animations, it's difficult, and those who like follow through with the animations, like I'm like Belina Productions. Like
Mhm.
it's well, one, it's 3D animations, but even having high quality 3D animations is difficult. Like the Sonic and Jurassic Park, just to have that one like 8 minute scene probably took them a good like half a year at the least. And that's just the thing. It's just like just an 8 minute clip can take you as a one person animator trying to animate an entire like 45 minute
Yeah,
scene is
little.
so hard. And I will never say like, oh yeah, why are they quitting on this? This is literally the only thing they do. And it's like it has to be difficult not only to be an animator to make fan animations when you're not getting paid for them, but then you are getting paid to do animations that you're supposed to be doing, and that's the thing. But that's why content is hard, and that's why making content on YouTube is hard now, because for animators, should I say? Because after all this new, I think it's was it Kosha or whatever, or I don't remember what it was called. It's where like
Yeah,
it's the
I don't
thing
know.
where I think Belina Productions was fighting for one of their videos that was they can't monetize them because they're meant for children. And that's the thing. If they label it as this is not for children, but YouTube go and see the video and say that, oh, it is deemed for children, you lied about that, so we're going to mark it as it's for children, you can't make money off these videos. And
And you
that's
get a strike, I think.
what?
I think you get like a strike too.
Yeah, but like
Something like that.
you can fight for it and say like, oh yeah, this is like you email them, you say that this is not for kids. There's like swearing, there's blood, and there's themes in the thing that it's like this is clearly not for kids. I don't make this
But
for kids. And that it's just like well, it's like who are you to decide what an animation is for kids and what's not? And it's just like I don't whatever. But yeah, and you but that's the thing. There are some animations that I've like some animated shows that were supposed to happen that were just canceled because I guess just other like there was this show called Sonic Misadventures that was it was an SFM animation.
I remember that.
Like Tails Channel would report about it. There was a trailer for it, but they scrapped it and kept whatever clips they had and posted those. And another one, I think it was the Sonic Prologue. It was Sonic Prologue. It was the origins of Sonic and Tails, but then they were going to do a second one with Sonic and Knuckles, and then that didn't happen. And so like I can go through a list of all the Sonic animations that didn't happen, and it's just
Mhm.
like the thing about being a fan of Sonic is that you're allowed to do these things. It's just a matter of the determination you need to make them. Because you're not getting paid for
Right.
them. You're only getting recognition from fans who like have been following you for years, and that's it's like it's got to be difficult because it's not like it's not a Sonic Team project that they're making you do this. They have their own animations that they do. So it's just like it's tough being tough being a Sonic fan animator.
Hold on. It's a bug in here. My
There's a
bad.
bug in here. There's a bee. But yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy though. Crazy.
it's like being a Sonic fan artist is not that hard. You see those everywhere. It's like he's a cartoon. He's a cartoon. Animations are hard to make. Fan games probably are hard to make, but you don't even have to be that. You don't even have to make a quality fan game for it to be a good fan game. Like
Right.
there are a couple that are just walls bonkers, but they're so good. And that's the thing. But that's where I was like falling. It's like Mania's so good. Why was Forces so mediocre? It's just like it's the aesthetic, obviously, because obviously there's not a whole lot to work with Mania, but with Forces you're having a whole new software that you're running on, the new engine that you're using. So I don't know. I can't create excuses for them, and that's just for them to decide what excuses they have.
Right.
I don't know. I'm all sonicked out a little bit in terms of actual genuine discussions, because I'm like, I mean,
we got through a lot.
Yeah, we got through a lot. Now I want to jump into the under and over it section of this, because I hope that probably won't take too long.
However, it did take too long, which is why I will be including the under and over it segment of this discussion in a separate episode, so stay tuned for that.